Hey everyone, I'm Dave and welcome back to the AI Kitchen. Today we're gonna make cottage cheese cloud bread. I wanna see if we can take cottage cheese and make an even better low carb, high protein version of cloud bread than people already are making. But I do think that in reality, to do it properly, we should probably make original cloud bread too, and then be able to compare them one to one and see which one actually is better. And you know, in the process, we can learn how to make both. I've never made either, but we can learn how to make both, and you can too, as you join me in, I guess, what we're calling Cooking with Dave now in the AI Kitchen. I don't know what this channel is, but Cooking with Dave is the name now. It used to be AI Kitchen, but we're still in the AI Kitchen because I'm getting the recipes from AI, so whatever, welcome in, welcome in. I've been like on and off on the whole starting of this episode because it seems like I need a mixer with like one of those little metal kind of whiskey things that goes on it and spins really fast and turns stuff into stiff peaks. I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, if you didn't know this, guys, if you're new here, I'm just a guy in his kitchen. I'm not a professional cook. I'm just doing the best I can to make food, and I hope you find that relatable because I think this is how a lot of people cook out there. And if it is and you enjoy it, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. So here's the kind of thing I struggle with. I've got this 8,000 pound KitchenAid thingy, not sponsored, although KitchenAid, hit me up. Why do they do such a tiny cord? First of all, let's be serious. I don't have a plug here, so I gotta go get an extension cord from the garage. But the thing that I'm struggling with is the attachments, because I think I lost most of them. As if I were trying to prove I'm not a professional cook, I will show you this. This is all I can find. Hopefully this works. In most like videos and stuff, when I look up cloud bread, people are using the whiskey thingy that looks like this. This little whiskey attachment, not like made of whiskey the drink, but a whisk type attachment, and I don't know where that is. I used to have it, but hopefully we can do it with this. But see, look, this, guys, will give you an idea of if you can use the thing you have, because you may have also lost that attachment, although I don't know if anyone's as sloppy as me in losing things. Okay, so let me set this up and we're gonna try this. Hopefully it's good. I found the best recipe, according to Google, the world's best cloud bread. It's on this website called The Spicy Perspective. So we're gonna make that, and we're also gonna make what ChatGPT or artificial intelligence created as far as like a recipe goes with the cottage cheese version. So we're gonna compare the two. One thing I did notice, I'm gonna try to do this where possible, is the first step is the same on both, so I think I can do it together. Might be crazy, but I'm gonna try it. You need to take egg whites and cream of tartar and blend them up until they form firm peaks, not stiff peaks or something like that. Stiff peaks, make sure they are not soft peaks. I'm not good at this, but we're gonna try it and see what happens. We need 7 eggs. And again, guys, if you're new here, this might trigger you. Actually, my KitchenAid's in the way now. It's so heavy. Why do they weigh so much? We need to take these 7 eggs and we need to get the whites out of them, the egg whites. So I'm gonna get a bowl and we're gonna try to do that. I probably won't make you watch this whole thing because this is not something I have any sort of skill with. See, like that broke. I already failed that one, right? Is that still salvageable? There's a shell in it and the yolk broke. All right, I call that a rough start. Let me try again. Take an egg, crack it open. Okay, that looks better. And then I'm gonna use a spoon to take the egg yolk out. I did it. So that's what we need to do, is just get the egg whites or the yolks? The whites are what we need, the egg whites. And we need, okay, so let me tell you, for the cloud bread recipe, you need 4. For the cottage cheese cloud bread recipe, you need 3. So that means 7 total. So like I said, I'm just gonna combine both of these, which hopefully isn't a mistake, and I'm gonna make a version with 7. Is this a bad idea? This might be a bad idea. But anyways, I'm gonna get my egg yolks and I'm gonna put them in here, and hopefully, is this taking shortcuts? Oh, you're supposed to use room temperature eggs, which I don't have that either. I'm using non-room temperature eggs. All right, so let me take this next one. But they're kind of room temperature. They've been out for like 10 minutes. Great news, guys. It only took me 9 eggs to get my 7 egg yolks. Again, the reason I want 7 is because I'm making 2 types of cloud bread, the cottage cheese and the regular. All right, so I know this is where people get frustrated with me, but I don't know if I should have combined the 2. Now I'm having second thoughts because I just realized they have different amount of cream of tartar in each recipe. So one calls for a half a teaspoon, and then the cottage cheese one calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. But I guess I can just do them both and it'll work out. I mean, I guess it'll be a more fair example if they both have the same amount of cream of tartar, actually. Because I found like 6 different recipes for cloud bread and they all have different amounts of cream of tartar. One said 1/8 teaspoon, one said 1/4, one said 1/2. And the one I'm using from that Spicy Kitchen or whatever is a half a teaspoon. What ChatGPT created for the cottage cheese one is a quarter, so we're gonna use 1/2 and 1/4 since we're using 7 eggs instead of the normal 3 or 4 eggs. And so I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar and then another 1/2 teaspoon. So basically that's 3/4 teaspoons of cream of tartar. Now what I would say is if you're gonna make this at home, just follow the recipe, whichever one you choose. Technically, the one I'm making from the cottage cheese version technically has a 1/4 teaspoon, and the original cloud bread has a 1/2 teaspoon, if you decide to make one or the other. Okay guys, so we're about to try this mixing process. So we're gonna turn on our mixer. And remember, we wanna form, it's gonna get loud, and I'm gonna cut it out. So let me tell you before we do it, we want it to form firm peaks, which I've failed at before, so we'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna look at this for a minute. I was trying to find like a video example and see what in the world these should look like. Hold on. Still don't seem far enough. Now, I will say, I asked, is that a stiff peak? I have no idea. That seems like a stiff peak. See how it like went on my finger and it's like staying there? This is the most important step. And when I asked ChatGPT if it could be done with this type of mixer attachment, and it said it's gonna be very difficult versus a whisk attachment. So I actually don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but here, I'm gonna use like a whisk thingy. So I don't know, this, I don't know how to tell if it's stiff or firm or not. I think it needs to go a little longer. I'm gonna keep mixing it. All right, let's see now. It's still kind of doing the same thing. I can't tell. I can't tell, but I know if I go too long, it'll become grainy. And I know grainy is bad. I don't know, what do you guys think? Are those firm peaks? Hold on, let's see. Is that firm? Is that a firm peak? I'll show you here. The fun thing about this is if you have done this before and know what you're doing, you can either be there sitting at home being like, oh no, Dave, go longer, or Dave, you're done, stop, or you're gonna ruin it. And you get to see what I'm gonna do, and I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Okay, so it looks like I looked at the infographic, pull it out, it's not telling me anything. Stiff peaks, soft peaks versus firm peaks. Man, they look very similar. Stiff peaks, keep going, these egg whites keep their shape, even when turned upside down, round and round. It is keeping its shape no matter what I do, so I think that is a stiff peak. Look, they're little thing at home. If you do this and they're not changing, they're probably stiff, this says. Okay, so let's do this. We'll get one more quick mix. And we're gonna say it's done and hope that we're right. So we're gonna move on to the next step, which is actually like crafting these cloud breads. So both the cottage cheese one and the original. I just thought of another dilemma. I combined both the egg whites for both recipes. But then I'm now sitting here remembering that the recipes have different counts of egg whites. One calls for 3 and one calls for 4. So how am I gonna know I have 3 versus 4 for each recipe? It probably doesn't matter. I mean, listen, whatever we come up with, it's gonna be what we come up with. And if it's bad, it's bad. We'll see. It might be amazing. You never know. Well, guys, this is, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy all my errors. Apparently, the next step calls for egg yolks, which makes sense. Now, all the egg yolks that I previously extracted from the egg whites, I put in the trash. So I'm gonna run out of eggs maybe. I need another 7 eggs to get the yolks out of, which I should have just saved from the first 7 that I separated, so yay. Listen, this is what makes my channel unique. Even if someone else tried to do super relatable cooking videos, nobody would be stubborn enough to continually not read ahead in the instructions to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. It's only me. Only I would do that. So back in egg and egg yolk world, we're gonna take the yolks out this time. Hey guys, can I just recommend you combine these steps in that first step so you don't have to do this twice? Oh, and I spilled it on the counter. It's still fine. It's still fine. Let's try that again. This is going great. Okay, so I'm the kind of guy who uses 17 eggs in the pursuit of 7. That's embarrassing. I know. Do you know what I've figured out I need to buy? I'm gonna say that. Is one of those mixers that's like a hand mixer, because that's really what this whole recipe needs, is a hand mixer. Because now it wants me to do mixing again for both recipes, but my bowl is full of my egg white stuff. If If I had just a normal mixer that I hold in my hand, I could just do this. And that would be what I recommend instead of a stand mixer in this one scenario. So let's proceed. I think we gotta proceed one recipe at a time from here, maybe. As a hack, I could use my little Ninja Chop thingy that I like so much. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on just standard cloud bread. Never made cloud bread. We're gonna work on that first, and then we'll work on the cottage cheese thing in a minute. Standard cloud bread recipe that I found online when I just searched world's best cloud bread calls for cream cheese, and it calls for 2 ounces, which isn't very much cream cheese. And it calls for the more eggs too. So this is the more eggs. 4 eggs, 2 ounces cream cheese. So let's get 2 ounces of cream cheese. We're gonna put it in our little Ninja Chop thingy, which I found out I can put a link for the Ninja Chop in the video, like it'll be down at the bottom left. I love this thing. It's like 20 bucks, and I use it all the time. So I recommend it. This is to beat this on high to soften, so I feel like this will beat it on high. Yeah, that's certainly soft now. Add the yolks one at a time, so I can't really do that, but I'll just add a little bit of the yolk. This is 4 yolks total. That's not working. This isn't really working at all, actually. It's going horribly. Listen, on this channel, I make the mistakes, guys, so you don't have to. Right? That's a good way to look at it. Let's see if it works now. Interesting. Very interesting. It's pretty liquidy. I think it's supposed to be, though. Now, again, if you have just a normal handheld mixer, that's really the ideal tool. I'm gonna have to order one after I do this, so I don't ever have to come against this problem again. They're cheap. You know what? I'll try to find a good one and put a link for that in this video, too. Although I think this is working. I'm just making sure I get all the cream cheese off the sides so it gets mixed in, and then doing it over and over again, and it's kind of functional. We're gonna make it work, because, you know, you gotta work with the tools you have, guys. That's the way the world is. I mean, I guess you could plan ahead, but it's fun in that. Oven's preheated, by the way, to 300 degrees. It says scrape the bowl and mix until it's completely smooth. Is it completely smooth? Kinda is. It's like a liquid. Maybe we'll go one more little spin here. Yeah. There we go. And we're gonna take out the little death ninja star thing. That over here. Yeah, sure. It's good. It's good. Now we wanna add some spices, it says. This is the recipe I found for cloud bread. It says a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a half teaspoon of salt. It says sea salt. I'm gonna use Morton's because I can see it. See what I did, guys? Sea salt. I'm sure my wife is rolling her eyes in that room over there. Let me look. No, she's completely ignoring me. All right, and then garlic powder. 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. I've realized so many flaws with that whole combining that first step, because now I have to like separate them out. Let me use like a little fork or something to mix all this up. For those of you who have made cloud bread, am I on the right path? Is this looking like what it looks like when you do it, other than the fact that I'm using the wrong tool for the job? Now we have to fold the firm meringue into the yolk mixture, which I can't do it in there. Can't do it in there. I'm gonna need another bowl. So we'll take this stuff and dump it into a bowl. I bet that's kind of close, guys. I should go look at a recipe and see if this looks close to what it's supposed to look like. Now I'm supposed to somehow magically calculate 4 eggs worth of this cream. So I'm just gonna like combine it all at the bottom. Guys, is this stiff or soft? I don't know. And I'm gonna cut it in half. And I really hope that those are firm peaks, but they might be soft peaks. You guys tell me. So let's say that's probably about a little more than half, which is what I'm looking for, right there. And then we're gonna whisk it together, or fold it together. This is not a fold. It said to fold, Dave, not to whisk. So you fold like this, I think. I don't know. I'm terrified that I'm doing this wrong, guys. I really am. How's the texture look for you guys? Does that look right or wrong? Now this is supposed to be just normal cloud bread. Standard run-of-the-mill cloud bread. I hope it's good. I hope I did it right. We will see. Okay, let's fold it together. What's next? It says still firm. I don't know if I've still got firmness, guys. I've got non-firmness going. Not firm. It's supposed to still be firm. Oh, it says try to deflate the meringue as little as possible. I think I deflated it quite a bit. Okay, whatever, we're gonna go on. We're gonna take a cookie sheet and we're gonna put some parchment paper on it. People seem to like my little hack the other time of using scissors. These are the only scissors I have right now. So it's kind of cool because now I'm making it like designed and pretty. It's like I'm doing arts and crafts in the kitchen. Got it. Perfect. Look at that, it's beautiful-ish. Now we're gonna take a 1/4 cup portions of the foam and then just put it onto the baking sheet, like so. 1, 2. Let me know, guys, if this looks right or wrong. I mean, at least it's not a puddle that's like pouring everywhere. It's more like pancake looking, which I think is a decent sign that we could be doing okay. It actually is kind of starting to melt everywhere. I don't know. I 100% think that this is supposed to be fluffier than it is. And I think it's probably a combination of the paddle mixer I used, the infusion on the measuring, and so on and so forth. I'm so bad with parchment paper. Oh well, that should work. But I'm not gonna do it over, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm not. Because I think that a lot of people's first attempt at cloud bread might end up looking something like this, because we're not all pro cooks out there. We try to make these recipes and we don't always get exactly what we're looking for. I'm gonna put these in the oven and start cooking them. Feel like the sooner the better because they're kind of melting at this point. I think that was a fail, but I'm not sure yet. But listen, I have an idea. Since I think part of the failing was maybe my peaks weren't stiff enough for the egg whites, because that's like the most important thing, I think I'm gonna mix the next batch more. Because remember, I still have to do the cottage cheese version. So I'm gonna stir it a little longer and see if we can get it a little firmer for the next go. All right, so what we're gonna do is put this back in the mixer and see if we can mix it a little longer. All right, so let's see what we got here. Still kind of looks the same to me, guys. I mixed it for another like 3 minutes. But hey, we'll see. Maybe that was the trick. Maybe that was the ticket. Maybe it's gonna come out better. Now, like I said, we're now moving on to the cottage cheese version of cloud bread. Really, it's about which one tastes better. The whole like, you know, egg whites not being firm enough, that's a me problem, not a recipe problem. At least I know this next batch has been mixed for like 2 to 3 more minutes, so we have a better shot. Those ones really flattened down. They're supposed to be like 3/4 of an inch. I'd say mine are like a 1/2 inch. So we're gonna see. Those are in there for 15 minutes, by the way. Now we're gonna add the cottage cheese into a thingy to stir it up. That was a very unclear statement. Let me try that again. We want 1 cup of cottage cheese and we wanna blend it until smooth. This is small curd. So we take 1 cup of cottage cheese, we're gonna put it in our little Ninja Chop thingy. Not sponsored, but might as well be at this point. And we're gonna do the same thing we did with our egg yolks. All right, these looking pretty smooth. Let me get my little spatula thingy. All right, nice and smooth cottage cheese, as you can see. And we're gonna throw that into a bowl like so. On our cottage cheese in a bowl. It's crazy what cottage cheese turns into in this little chopper. Turns into like, it almost looks like sour cream. I wonder if they're friends, sour cream and cottage cheese. All right, so we got our cottage cheese in here. We're gonna grab our egg whites that are hopefully finally firm peaks. I'm gonna try to fold it in even more gently this time, because I feel like maybe I wasn't gentle enough last time. How do I get this out? All right, so we're gonna pour that in there. Our egg white cream of tartar mix in with the cottage cheese. Then we're gonna add baking powder. It says we need to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder into this, like so. We also need, it's going more extreme. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt that I can see. It's sea salt. That joke, I like that joke. I just made it up, although I'm sure someone else has said it before, but I'm really enjoying it. All right, and then we want a 1/4 cup of almond flour of all things, which is interesting. It also wants me to add, but it says optional, psyllium husk powder, which I don't have. But it says that's optional. Also a 1/4 cup of grated Parm, the cheese, like just randomly. I mean, I guess I will add a bunch of flavor to it. We're gonna be headed to Flavor Town. Can I trademark that? Guys, that's already trademarked, I think. That statement is owned by who? Guy Ferrari? All right. Wait, am I supposed to add the egg yolks or what? Cottage cheese, egg yolks. Yeah, I gotta add the 3 egg yolks, like so. You all know I just screwed that up. Dang it. The egg whites were supposed to go in later, not now. I was supposed to thoroughly beat all those other ingredients, then add the egg whites, not put them in at the beginning. Because now I'm gonna overmix and they're gonna lose all their fluffiness, and it's just gonna be a typical Dave moment. Can't believe I did that. The problem is differentiating between egg yolks and egg whites, apparently. I struggle with that. So if you're doing this at home, don't put the egg whites in yet. Do all that stuff I just did, the Parmesan, the baking powder, the salt, but do not put the egg whites until after you thoroughly combine all those other ingredients. I think me doing it this way is probably gonna negatively affect the recipe as a whole, but I can't undo it. And so I'm just trying to gently mix all those things together and hope they seem mixed together. Hope it works out. It also says I can add a teaspoon of garlic powder to the mix, which I did with the other one, so I think it makes sense to do it for this one too, and then mix it up. Ay, ay, ay. So I'm losing all my fluffiness here. Whatever. It's actually not that unfluffy. It's still about as fluffy or more fluffy than the previous thing. We can also add oregano or rosemary if we want. Should I? I feel like I don't want to mix it anymore. I'm not, but the other one has some oregano, or actually it has Italian seasoning. Let's do the same. Let's match it with some Italian seasoning. That way both versions have a similar profile of flavor. I'm still mad at myself for doing that backwards. Whatever. All right, that's the cottage cheese version. But like I said, ideally if you do this at home, don't add in the egg yolks, the white stuff, no wait, the egg whites, the white stuff that's all fluffy, until after you thoroughly combine the yolks with all those other ingredients we did. I really wanted this to feel like I knew what I was doing, but not today. All right, so now we take our little 1/4 cup again, and we plop it onto the cookie sheet. Similar to last time. Hey, I will say these are a little fluffier than the first version, so that's something. And they probably would have been even more fluffy if I hadn't had to mix in all the ingredients together like that, but I did. No looking back, guys. We're gonna look forward and we're gonna have 2 amazing cloud bread recipes. That's how this ends. Almost guaranteed, because we're just pros. It doesn't work out. Although I guess we can get a preview right now because the timer just went off on the first cloud bread. I don't know how to tell if it's done. This one's a real nightmare. Look at that. Although I don't know. It's kind of like bread. It might be done. I'm gonna give it like another 40 seconds. I think really, these recipes are probably pretty easy if you don't intentionally, well, unintentionally, make your own life difficult like I do. Really what I did to make my life difficult was attempt to take shortcuts. Well, whatever. It's all fine, guys. It's all fine. Sure. Based on what I can tell, the cloud bread should be fluffier. I'm gonna give it another minute or 2. I've just put in the cottage cheese version, which says it needs to bake for 25 to 30 minutes. So I'm gonna set a timer for like 25 and check that then. We'll be back to try them both in about a half hour, although for you it'll be snap of a finger. And we're gonna see what happens, guys. We're gonna see what happens. So this is where we're at. This is the standard cloud bread I made. It's probably all wrong, but here it is. It's not as fluffy as I think it should be at all, but that's what we've come up with as far as the cloud bread goes. Now, here's my thought. It still might taste good. The other cloud bread is still cooking. It's almost done, maybe 10 more minutes at the most. So while we wait, let's go ahead and try this cloud bread. Apparently people use this as like a substitute to make a sandwich, but it's like no carbs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make like as a little ham sandwich. We're gonna do equal footing this versus the cottage cheese one. There we go. And we're gonna see, it's not gonna be a crazy sandwich. Obviously, if I was making a real sandwich for a meal, I might go a little bit more buck wild and put things like, you know, lettuce, tomato, etc., etc. We're just gonna keep it simple. Ham and cheese on the piece of cloud bread, and we're gonna see if it tastes like bread. That's the goal, is like a 0 carb bread. Why am I nervous? So yeah, it kind of does substitute bread. It doesn't taste bad. I think the only thing that's wrong with it is I think really it's supposed to be a little bit thicker and a little bit fluffier, and that would improve it. But that's something I think I'll learn with time as I do it more. I did just order a handheld mixer, so I can try this again sometime with a handheld mixer and see if it goes better. Try another bite. That's really yummy. Even with all that stress and anxiety, it still turned out pretty tasty. Okay. I could easily eat that whole thing and feel like I had a sandwich. So cloud bread's good. You probably already knew that if you clicked this video. Even if you don't make it perfect, it's still kind of good. So it's still really good. No complaints. If I was gonna do keto again, which based on you guys clicking these keto videos, maybe I should just be a keto guy, but I have a bunch of recipes already recorded that aren't keto. So if I was gonna go keto, this would be something I made all the time, and I'd probably perfect it over time and get really good at making it nice and fluffy. But for this first try, I'm okay with the result, but we're gonna try the cottage cheese one, so don't go anywhere. Let's see if that's even better. All right, so the cottage cheese version is now done. It doesn't look as like, I don't know, it doesn't look exactly the same, but it doesn't look too far off either. Make sure, did I burn it at all? Maybe it's a little crispy. So that's what it looks like inside. Seems pretty good, although it seems kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of soft a little bit, but that's because it's cottage cheese. I think it might need a little longer, honestly. Oof, it's not really coming off as easy. I might put it back in for like, I don't know, 3 more minutes. I don't want to burn the bottoms. All right, guys, I think the cottage cheese version is done. I guess technically I should let it cool a little bit. You know me, I'm very impatient. I hate things like letting something cool. But there is the cottage cheese version, as it were. It looks kind of good. I don't know. Let's let it cool for a minute. It says you can let it cool on a wire rack. Interesting. It definitely is fluffier than my, you know, normal cloud bread. If you compare the two, there's definitely a difference. And I think it's because I whipped the eggs a little longer, so definitely whip them long and use the right tool. Use like an actual whisk type thing as opposed to using the paddle mixer I used. I'm gonna take 2 pieces off of this and let it cool. I should really make like some an epic version of a sandwich for like the thumbnail of the video, huh? All right, guys, so this has cooled and now we've got the cottage cheese version of cloud bread. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna throw a piece of cheese on it, although I feel like since this is so much thicker, I might need more cheese and meat, but we're gonna, you know, keep it simple. Like we did with the other one. So we're really trying to judge the bread more than the meat. So there's that. And we take a bite and we see. That's a lot tastier. Now, I don't know if that's because ChatGPT added like the Parmesan cheese and stuff, but the bread itself is like a nice little treat on the cottage cheese version. Now, that one's straight up delicious. That one, like the bread is adding something. This one, it's like the bread's not there. This one, it actually like adds flavor. And I think partially I just got the texture better on this one where it's much more fluffy and, you know, there's more to it. I heavily prefer the cottage cheese version. Like cottage cheese version, this one's worth making even if you're not on keto. It's just really tasty. And you make a really good sandwich with that and you're gonna have an exciting time. I actually have some pastrami. I could put some pastrami on it too, that'd be good. So I would say do the cottage cheese one, especially if I've already had the normal cloud bread. I think the cottage cheese one's significantly better, but you know, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Give me any tips on doing this better next time. Hopefully you can follow along and try it yourself. And hopefully this shows you that even if you're not a professional cook, which I'm not, you can still end up making something that's a very tasty treat for a lot cheaper at home. All right, see you next time. See you guys next time. Words are hard. I had half a pastrami sandwich left over from a deli that I got recently. So I put the remnants of that. They really stack in the pastrami and the cheese and stuff. I'm gonna try that with the cloud bread next and see how that is. It's funny. Part of the reason I wanted to do that was I thought it would look cool for a thumbnail, but then I got so excited I ate it before doing any sort of picture for the thumbnail. I'll probably just use AI to create a thumbnail. I do that sometimes because I'm really bad at photographing the food. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.